Hello and welcome to episode 53 of No Load Time. My name is Obed Velez, and with me is the most interesting man in the world, Joel Young.
What's good, No Load Time? Good to be back with you. Obed, I've had such a great time with you these last couple episodes talking about E3, and man, it's so amazing that it's done with, but we've still kind of been talking about it in our own time, and it's just been amazing these last few episodes. If you guys haven't listened to those, I really encourage you to check them out. And for those of you that are new joining the show, welcome to No Load Time.
Yeah, a little burnt with all the video game stuff that happened, but we're here, hopefully sort of energized, and we're gonna go ahead and get into the geekiness that we usually talk about, not only video games here on No Load Time. But Joel, what's up, and anything new that's going on?
Yeah, man.
I know we did watch a movie.
Yes. Before we get into the movie, because we both will talk, I know kind of both about that. There's a TV show that came out, and it's Cloak and Dagger. So I kind of pushed it off the side, obviously, because we're talking about E3, but now I've gotten 3 episodes in. Going to be the 4th episode. This actually comes out technically tonight as we're recording this. And but I always have my 3 episode rule, right, on how I feel about a show. I always give it 3 episodes before I really put my feelings together, just because I don't know what direction. The first episode could be great, but the next 2 could be trash. Yeah, I've seen it. With Cloak and Dagger, it's on Freeform or ABC Family, it used to be. So it has a little bit of that, a little more of that dramatic feel that you would have, with a regular ABC Family Freeform show. However, it's definitely not your Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and it's not your Netflix show. It has its own uniqueness to it, and I definitely think that after watching these 3 episodes, I definitely think that it's a good show. I think that it's actually something that Marvel fans are pleased with or should be pleased with. It's not a great show. It's not a very superhero show. It's very grounded. You're dealing with people who have very amazing supernatural abilities, and I think the special effects actually are really good for a show that you could imagine what the budget is, just because of it being, not a movie or even Netflix for that matter. But I think that what they've done really good. I love like the effects of Cloak, how they kind of have this like shadowy kind of effect to his hood, and Dagger, how it comes out of her hands, and the way that they did it, I think looks really good. I think the problem that I have with the show, and this is just from the 3rd episode, they spend a lot of time on a lot of things that are like surrounding problems for them, but not directly in how these people are learning about who they are, their powers, and then what their end goal is going to be, which is obviously going to be to get back at Roxxon for what happened to their parents, and obviously for Tyrone, and some of the stuff that happens there in their background. I won't spoil it if you haven't seen it yet, but it's very obvious that's what they're going to go for, and they have the one main character that they kind of are targeting, but they've spent a lot of time. To me, it feels like dragging out some other side things that they don't need to do, that I don't need that much of. I know a lot of people get crazy into the whole I want a backstory. I think that's great, but I think sometimes people get a little too overly crazy with that, and we lose what the real genuineness is of a superhero show, which is people who have powers and then their desire to do something about it. And I want to see us make that switch. Hopefully, episode 4, when I watch it, hopefully they really go full in depth on that, because I think it's only like 13 episodes, 13 episodes, something along those lines. It's not very long. So they got to really pick it up quickly. So we'll see how it goes, but I do recommend it. Check out Cloak and Dagger if you get the chance. So Obed, I know though we've got a movie to talk about.
Yeah, we did go individually,
separately,
and we watched The Incredibles 2. Joe, I thought it was as good, if not better, than the first one. I really like the first one a lot, but I really like what they did on this one, especially Jack. He steals the show. He's the best, which he was really funny on the first one too, but he didn't have much to do until the very end of the movie. Spoiler alert for a 14-year-old movie. But in this one, it's like all throughout, and it's not long sequences. It's short sequences sprinkled throughout the movie, and I think that just made it a lot. It just made it a lot of fun because every sequence was so funny that it just made it a lot better. But I think the story was good. I think the villain was super cliche. I saw it a mile away. I mean, it's one of those things. Yeah, it's because it's, of course, it's paying, you know, sort of like homage to 50s 60s, you know, superheroes. So you do see this thing coming, and it's pretty obvious from from almost the very beginning. But I really liked it, man. I really like what they did with it. The only thing that I would say, and not that I didn't like, because I did like it, but something that may throw you off is that everyone sounds much older. This has only been 14 years, but you know, when you consider, you know, older people, 14 years, and yeah, so that was I would say was distracting, but not too crazy. It wasn't too bad. Other than that, man, it was a lot of fun.
I 100% agree with you, Obed. I saw it first before you saw it, and right before you saw it, I said, Obed, like, trust me, you're gonna like this. And what I liked the most about when the movie began is how they had that little like sizzle reel with each of the actors kind of saying, "Hey,
Yeah.
we know it's been 14 years. We know it's been a long time. Check out this movie. It's well worth the wait." Obed, I really do think it was worth the wait. I think it was something that I'm pleasantly pleased with. You know, a lot of times when sequels are done, it's just because the first one was super successful. So it's like, why not just greenlight and give this thing more money and do a sequel? And sometimes it's just not good, even if the fans are demanding for it. The fans demanded for it. The first movie made a lot of money. This movie made a ridiculous amount of money. Actually, it made a record for animated film, somewhere in the ballpark of 180 million for opening weekend. And it's very charming. It's very fun, like you said. I agree with you. Jack Jack is the best part of the movie. There's a lot of great parts of the movie, but Jack Jack's the best parts of it. And spoiler, Jack Jack and that raccoon, dude, I could not stop laughing. that whole sequence, it's fantastic.
It was really good. Yeah, Jolie, I wonder where Pixar's going next. I mean, we talked lightly about John Lasseter and all that, you know, hashtag Me Too and all that stuff. And I don't know if we express how we felt about it, but at this point, it doesn't really matter, right? But how do you feel about Pete Docter being in charge of Pixar now?
I really don't feel like it's going to be that much of a change. I'm just being real, and I'm not trying to knock on Lasseter saying like he didn't have an impact, because he absolutely did. I get it, but I just feel like they already have a plan in place. Like, they've been doing this for so long, and they've evolved so much as a company from where Pixar began with Lasseter, that where they are today, it's kind of like Apple, right? Like, you know, when they lost Steve Jobs and now they have Tim Cook, like, there's definitely going to be changes, stuff that Steve Jobs maybe never wanted that Tim Cook did, you know, the Apple Pen, that kind of thing. But it's still working and it's still sufficient. There's still going to be stuff that they like and they're still wanting and buying. I think it's the same thing with Pixar. Like, you're going to see stuff that maybe Lasseter wouldn't have done or wouldn't have, you know, the different direction, but it's still going to be true to who Pixar is, just because they've evolved and created a culture and a brand that's consistent. I don't really think it's going to be that much of a change now with this guy in charge. I don't know how you feel, Obed, but I'm not really worried.
Same thing. I think it's in good hands. Pete Docter is more than capable. He's proven, you know, time and time again that he's the guy. And you know, of course, he's been involved with all, you know, Pixar since Toy Story. He was an animator in Toy Story. From there, you know, he directed Up and did a lot of other projects. Wrote most of the Pixar stuff as well. So I think it's definitely in good hands. I don't think it's going to be an issue at all. So with that regards, I think that's not going to be like what you said. It's not going to affect Pixar. And yeah, these guys have a roadmap already in place. So there's not going to be any immediate changes that I see to what they're doing. So
absolutely. Oh,
Yeah.
but I know you played a couple of games, right?
Yeah. So I mentioned during my E3 stuff that I've gotten the Kingdom Hearts the collection, the 1.5, 2.5 collection for PS4. I did start playing that, Joel. I started with a PSP game with Birth by Sleep because I never played it. I played the other ones, but I've never played this one. I didn't own a PSP, and unfortunately, this game is one of the few games that's not available on the Vita on the PlayStation Store, so you can actually buy it digitally and play on the Vita. So I was really excited to play this game. It looks it man, it's I don't want to say I don't want to hype it up to be like, yo, this is like playing a new game because it's not. This is an older game, but for it to be a portable game, I think they did enough touch up to the game itself where the game feels new-ish, and especially if you never played the game, you're just trying to get accustomed to the Kingdom Hearts mechanics and all that stuff that's happening. It does take a little bit, but yeah, it's good. I started playing it. I'm not too far in. I'm only about 2 hours in, but so far I'm really enjoying it. It looks like it's definitely going to be a lot more condensed experience versus, say, Kingdom Hearts 2. The Kingdom Hearts 2 is fantastic. So just comparing that game to Kingdom Hearts 2 would be unfair, although a lot of people consider Birth by Sleep to be the better of the Kingdom Heart games. So that's yet to be seen. I'm not too far in, so I can't have a concrete opinion on that. Yeah, go ahead.
I expect an update on that, Obed, when you continue through it, because that's a bold statement there. So I can't wait to see how you feel as you progress.
Yeah, exactly. I'll definitely keep going at it. Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out in January, so I have plenty of time to finish it. I'm not planning to really get anything from now until Christmas, man. Maybe Spider-Man is probably going to be the only thing that I'm going to get. But I'll have plenty of time to deal with Kingdom Hearts.
Very good.
Yep. Other than that, Joel, I mentioned to you, I don't know if I mentioned it on the podcast, but I did mention to you that a couple of months ago, the Batman Telltale game, the first one, because there's a second one that just wrapped up a couple of weeks ago, but the first Batman Telltale game was offered as a PS Plus free game for a month, and I grabbed it. And I started playing that game, Joel. I never played a Telltale game, so I know that this is going to be like a very story heavy thing, right? I did go in expecting that, but this thing's pretty good. Like I did the first 3 chapters, and I'm really enjoying it. I was not expecting it. I did not expect that I was going to enjoy this as much as I am. I'm more of an action type of, give me Devil May Cry, give me Bayonetta, give me all those type of games, and I'll be more at home. But just going in, I expected a good story or a heavy story, and it's great. It goes to some places like this is. I really like how they respect Batman as the source material, but also take their liberties and creating a story that's kind of like messed up. so I really like that. Downsides that I have right now, that engine sucks.
It's classic Telltale, though.
That's what I heard from everyone. But that engine is awful, dude. Like there's a so how can I put this right? A cutscene where you're not interacting with anything. Not a cut, the game is it's a big giant cutscene, right? But but it's a cutscene that I'm not doing anything, and in a room, a contained room with very few characters, and this thing's like 10 frames a second. It's like chugging, and I was like, why? It looks bad. That's my only a gripe with this game is that engine, and it's not, the art design's fine. I don't have a problem with the type of cell shading they're using for the graphics, and the art design's actually pretty nice. But freaking engine, dude.
It's 2018, right? PlayStation 4 should not be a problem.
Yeah, exactly. And I heard it's not PS4 is not the problem. I heard it's the same thing on PCs. It doesn't matter the type of PC that you have, it's still gonna shug.
Yeah.
And it's an engine thing. But it does have some quick time event action sequences, which are pretty good. So I'm really enjoying it. I got 2 chapters left on it. I may finish it this weekend. Maybe. Like I said, I'm probably gonna go back to Kingdom Hearts. I want to put more time on Dragon Ball, so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, well, that was pretty much it, man.
Pretty dope, dude. I know we got a lot of crazy topics to get into, but I look forward to hearing your updates on that stuff, man.
Yeah. Joel, do you wanna kick it off? Do you want to talk about Star Wars? Do you want to talk about Star Wars?
Oh, do I want to say some things about Star Wars? I mean, but you and I are both huge Star Wars nerds. You say this every time.
Come on, look around.
This guy doesn't even have it behind him right now, but he has Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, in VHS. Oh, look, is he reaching for it?
Yeah, I'm reaching for it.
There it is. There it is.
Yeah, collector's edition VHS. I'm a certified nerd.
So, certified. Yeah. So there has been a lot of stuff since the last time we spoke. We talked about last time Kathleen Kennedy basically being forced out per rumors as a reaction to the financial not success of Solo. And it was a rumor, so we took it with a grain of salt, but it was pretty strongly rumored by a few places I'd seen that around September she would be stepping down. Now, some new reports came out saying that she is not stepping down. And this is like a couple days ago that this kind of came out, that the people saying she's not stepping down. Now, mind you, the whole she's not stepping down thing is from, I believe, The Wired, I believe they put out there. And if you read the article, it's not anything of them saying sources are telling us this. They basically wrote an opinion piece to essentially discredit the rumor that was originally coming out, saying that it's an internet rumor kind of thing.
Yeah.
Here's the thing to me, Obed. Lucasfilm has not come out publicly saying a thing about this.
Nope.
Kathleen Kennedy has not put one statement out about this. They could put this to bed in a blink of an eye. They could end it. And they have not come out and said a thing. You would think this would be a commonsensical thing just to come out and debunk if it's not true or not even remotely true.
Yeah, I mean they could at least come out with a, but sometimes in these cases, right? They can come up with a statement saying we do not comment on rumors and speculation, kind of like what Microsoft does when there's like Xbox rumors, right? But they didn't even do that.
They didn't even do that. The only thing that happened, Obed, was Kevin Feige, because the rumor said, there was another rumor that came out saying Kevin Feige is going to replace Kathleen Kennedy. And you and I were like, hogwash, that's never going to happen.
That's not going to happen.
Not that Feige want to do that, but he's got his hands full of Marvel. That's just be
absolutely.
Really, that's an obvious not going to happen. Feige came out to the same thing, like, no, that's not happening. I'm not taking over Lucasfilm. That's the only person that's commented on it on a public record from someone that actually matters. But with all that being said, Obed, I say this a lot to you when we talk about rumors and speculation. I believe where there's smoke, there's fire. And I believe this is a situation where there is some smoke. I do not believe that we have a fire blazing yet. I don't believe that it's possible that she has not been officially pushed out. But I believe this means that Lucasfilm was like, well, it might be a rumor, but we actually are thinking about this. Like when I say Lucasfilm, maybe Disney, the heads of Disney, right? Iger and other people are more powerful. They're kind of looking over her and kind of saying, well, we see the money. We see what it's done to our stocks. They've had situations directly after that movie came out. Stocks immediately went down with it from Disney the day after the box office record came out. As a direct relation, many insiders from the market are saying that it's directly related to Solo from investors. Obed, I believe that in this situation, it's not that Kathleen Kennedy is officially out, but I believe it's because Lucasfilm is actually considering it, and I believe that it actually is something that could happen. So, because if it was not even a remote possibility, Obed, they would have put it to bed. I strongly believe that, and they have not done it.
Yeah, there's like what you said. With there's smoke, there's fire, but I think it's probably just a couple of wild embers at this point. I don't think that after one flop, they're just gonna get rid of her, because that's not Disney, right? If that would have been the case, John Lasseter would have been out a long time ago, because both Disney, Pixar and Disney Studios have had a couple of issues, a couple of missteps here and there. Not too many.
The Good Dinosaur.
The Good Dinosaur comes to mind, right? But again, Kathleen Kennedy is well respected, and I don't think Disney it's about to burn some bridges here just because of one movie. A direct effect of that, Joel, is that I do believe that Kathleen Kennedy reports directly to Bob Iger. Iger probably brought it in as like, hey, maybe you're overdoing this thing. And this is where our news for this week come, where is that they officially suspended work on all the Star Wars story movies, or the spin-off movies. So yeah.
So it's funny to say that, right? So that report came out yesterday, if not mistaken.
Yep.
Right? That was coming out there. Then today, this is the one thing Lucasfilm has actually commented on. Lucasfilm did actually comment on it and said that's not true in the short term. And this happened like a couple hours ago today.
But there's like a lot of outlets reporting it, Joe. It's not just...
Yeah. This is why I'm saying where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah.
Because I think right now they are evaluating their options to the place that they have halted all of them. And there was a rumor that not only was it that Solo was a movie that they're not happy with, but apparently they actually had a director in place for the Obi-Wan movie before the Solo movie was going to be in production, and then the director dropped out, and that's why they never announced it or publicized, but they were going to do that movie first. That's the movie that we actually asked for. I think what they're doing right now is that they're saying as a business, let's figure out what Kathleen's vision is. Let's figure out who's actually going to be involved from a director's standpoint or relations, and let's make a real roadmap. So this, I think there's going to be spinoffs, but I think a lot of the ones that were rumored, like the Boba Fett and some of the other ones, I think those are just deaded. I think they're like, why are we just going to do this and people aren't even asking for them? But I think Obi-Wan is still going to happen. I really strongly believe that. It just makes too much sense for Disney not to do that movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that there's a possibility of something after the end of Solo, something that's going to connect directly to Solo. They might try and figure that out because of a certain character showing up and what they did with a certain character. You've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. So I think there's something there, but I think outside of what those immediate plans are, like the stuff that was speculated and, oh, we're going to try this thing, we're going to try that thing. I think that's where the reports are coming out, like, hey, stuff that was like talked about, like forget about it, like it ever happened. Because I don't think those things are going to happen. I'm serious. I think the Ryan Johnson thing's still going to happen. And we'll get into Ryan Johnson in a hot second here.
Yeah.
But I think the Ryan Johnson still is going to happen. And who's the other guys that are doing
the Game of Thrones guys?
Game of Thrones guys doing another separate trilogy. I think those are going to happen. And according to reports, those are the ones that were said that they were going to be more focused on more than the spin-off movies. So they're focusing on those. What do you think, Obed?
Yeah, I think what happened here, Joel, is that when Disney acquired Lucasfilm, they greenlit Episode 7, Force Awakens. So the Force Awakens gets greenlit, and Kathleen Kennedy goes bonkers. It's like, yo, let's do the Marvel thing, and let's do a movie a year, possibly 2. And by the fourth movie, fans are like, nah, dog, it's not gonna be. It's a no for me.
Randy Jackson.
channel their inner Randy Jackson. And dude, I still haven't seen Solo. Me, I still haven't.
And this is the guy who has the Phantom Menace, and you're not even running out to see it. I know another person that's a huge Star Wars fan. They refuse to watch the movie.
Well, I'll watch it because I'll buy it when it comes out. But I mean, at this point,
That's saying something, Obed. Rogue One, you pushed to see.
Oh yeah, Rogue One. I saw. I mean, it was like maybe like the following week. Like it was out for about a week, but I did go see it. And of course, you know, Last Jedi I went same weekend that it came out. So, but but Joel, I understand how a lot of Star Wars fans and a lot of Star Wars fans feel. Like there's the two, right? There's the Star Wars fans and there's the Star Wars fans. So, and we'll talk about
marks for those of you hearing the audio.
Exactly. We'll talk about those fans in a second. But I'm one of the, you know, again, the first memory I have of watching a movie is freaking Star Wars. So, and you know, back in the early 80s, I grew up with the originals. And when I mean originals, I mean the originals. Nothing, no altered, nothing, right? So again, we go back to the thing that I've been saying for a couple of months now, Joel, that I was concerned that we were going to get Star Wars fatigue. We got it. And I think that the leadership at Lucasfilm was wise enough to notice. And that's good. I think it's a good thing. Maybe by waiting a couple of years, we can get a better quality product at the end. And I say that, and I say that as someone who loved The Last Jedi, because I love the movie, because it was really freaking good. And we'll talk about Last Jedi in a second. But I really feel like there's this issue with the fan disconnect and Disney believing they could carry on Star Wars with established characters like Marvel was doing their thing. And you can't. You have to do this differently. There's magic around Star Wars that no other movie franchise has. In my opinion, Joel, they should just go with episode 9, take 2 years, and come back with whatever new project is. You know, they should be 2 years in between. If they want to start filming this year,
I agree,
and release the movie in 2021, that's fine. But give us a break. Like, you have to give us a break. And that's the problem, you know. We had 2 Star Wars movies in 6 months, whereas before we had to wait, and it was this build up and this, you know, mystique around Star Wars. So I'm just hoping that the heads of Lucasfilm and Disney realize this and just give us a break, because just give fans a break and fans are going to come back. That being said, Joel, the other fans, right? And I'm talking about the fans that drove, you know, Daisy Ridley and I forgot the other, and Tran out of, you know, social media. You guys are still a-holes. And this bullcrap about raising money to do a remake of The Last Jedi is the most astonishingly. I have no words. It is absolutely ridiculous, Joe. It is one of the most ridiculous things I have ever heard. I mean, why not remake episode 2? Which truly freaking sucked, because it's an awful movie. It's an awful freaking movie, man. Why not remake episode 2? You're not mad about episode 2. Why are you mad about this crap now?
Because they don't understand the property.
Should be mad 15 years ago, moron.
Were they even alive 15 years ago? Oh,
Oh,
Bird.
snap!
Savage Joel.
Yeah. Oh, you brought it, man. Freaking 12-year-olds, dude. Seriously. I mean, I think The Last Jedi is fantastic. It has some iconic sequences. Yeah, it has some things. Like we talked about it. There's an entire episode that we talked about this freaking movie, right?
Christmas.
Pretty much. Yeah, exactly. Check out our Christmas episodes. And I mean, it's not perfect. It does have things, right, that could have been done. Could have been done better at the end of the day. But I think that it was well written, well shot, well directed. Acting was good. I have zero problems with that movie other than it's too long. And that was my only big gripe about the movie. Everything else was, superficial at this point, if you look at it. So I believe that fanboys, again, let's stop being a-holes and freaking enjoy what you're given. It's like, oh, Joe, it's not like we got a mediocre product. This thing's good, right? We didn't get Justice League. It's good. You're right in the heart.
Shot to the heart. Well, Obed, I completely agree with you. It's a solid movie. It's a good movie. And this whole notion of we're going to remake this movie will never happen. I don't care if you raise $100 million. Disney ain't going to let that happen.
Nope.
So keep enjoying your pipe dreams. And it's a very bratty thing, in my opinion, because it's almost like the fans have become like a Burger King or Subway, I want it my way kind of mentality. And you say it, Obed, say it.
Man babies.
Oh, they become man
They're
babies.
Toddlers. You're 30-year-old toddlers.
That's what it is. You didn't like what you got because it wasn't the way you wanted it. And, you were used to the way you had your things or the way you expected it to be. And expectations is what hurt this movie. Yep. So the whole notion of you watching it and saying it's a disaster is really just because you're not looking at it as cinema.
You didn't got what you wanted. Yeah,
you just didn't get what you wanted. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Because what we got was good. Just wasn't what you wanted. And Obed and I have thoughts about this movie. Like we said, there's stuff that I didn't care for, but I really like this movie. Like Obed, I think this is, in some ways, this movie's better than Force Awakens in some ways. And I know it's a strong statement to say, but there's some very interesting things that they do with this movie. These are not Jedi, they're samurai, the way Rian Johnson shot this. It's very interesting. It's well shot. It's very intriguing. There's very different ways to take characters.
It takes risks versus Force Awakens was a really safe movie. It was good, but it was very safe. This, talk about, man, having creative freedom and just going and doing and taking risks is fantastic. So basically, fans wanted a remake of Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
That's what I want, because in essence, The Force Awakens is a retelling of A New Hope. So, they wanted Empire Strikes Back, and then next year, in the next year, we were gonna get, I don't know, again, teddy bears and things against the First Order. So I don't know. That's seriously, guys, stop it. You guys are just the butt of the internet right now. No one's taking you seriously, and you call yourself fan. Dude, I don't know if you saw Rian Johnson's tweets, right?
Fantastic.
They're awesome. I was like,
he's taunting them. He's like,
yeah, do it.
Come at me, please. Make this movie.
He's like, come on, do it. Kill me, come on.
I was thinking more Heath Ledger. I want you to do it. Right?
Do it. Like Palpatine.
But the article you sent me, Obed, from CNET, that kind of like really broke it down really well. They had also some tweets in there from Seth Rogen, I think, and some other people basically saying, Chuck Wendig, also who's one of the writers for Star Wars with their books, basically saying like, look, they're like, the way that this money's even calculated is so bogus.
Yeah,
like it's
they
not
have
even,
no clue what they're
it's
doing.
Fake. No, but it's fake money, Obed. It's not even real. Like, oh, we've got $13 million already prepared from
Bitcoin.
only 15 people who actually contributed to this. Who are these 15 people giving you $13 million to make this movie? Seth Rogen was like, I've never heard of such a thing. Like, you don't even have a script or any of this stuff. Like, it just makes no sense. It's fake.
It's fake.
Sorry, I don't talk about fake news often.
It's fake fans. It's fake fans. Those fans that are
they're making
on quotes, they're fake. They're fake. You know what? Straight up, Joel, they're fake fans.
They're
come on, guys. It's not like Star Wars wasn't ruined already with Episode 2 and Jar Jar and all this bull crap. And we had a really good Jar Jar experience this week, right?
Yeah,
Joel?
we did.
Yeah,
we can talk about Star Wars forever, man.
We can keep going the entire episode talking about Star Wars because we love Star Wars and fans that are doing this thing without scripts and bullcrap. No, man, it's like seriously, grow up, man, babies.
I love it. I love when you say man, babies.
No, it's like seriously, it goes back. It just goes to. Like, Star Wars fans are awful. Like, these guys are terrible people.
I know.
What are they doing? I mean, what's the purpose of this thing, right? It's like, I guess it's like artistic freedom is dead. Like, I didn't like what you did, so I'm gonna redo it my way. Like, I was like, would you go over and I was like, oh, Joe, let's go ahead and crowdfund a remake of the Mona Lisa. Let's do that. What do you think?
For me, Obed, it's more the mindset of like, you people want to raise $200 million to make this movie. In theory, let's just say, right? We've got people out there who are starving. We've got like rumors of wars, stuff going on.
We got kids in cages. How about you donate some money?
All this kind of stuff. But you want to make $200 million to go remake a movie that's fine?
Yes.
I'll leave it there. Case rested.
Like Chris Jericho said, stupid idiots. All right, so let's move because Star Wars, we can get pretty passionate about this crap. Joel, DC, come on, let's do it.
Oh, here comes another one. Although I would say that could be a passion to Star Wars. And Star Wars for us is like Star Wars, and
it goes down from there. Right?
Yeah. Right. Take it down a notch. Yeah. But DC, okay, so. Last time while we were doing the E3 live episode, breaking news had come out to us earlier on saying that Jeff Johns was no longer going to be the president of DC Films. The other lady that was also the president, that was also a co-president, co-running it with him of DC Films, had actually stepped away as well a little bit while back, which is really weird because you had like maybe half a year ago or a year actually of when they had it fully moved into these newer, higher positions to really run all this. So very quickly being moved out. And really the only movie Jeff Johns really got to really work on was both Wonder Woman and Justice League. And one of them came out to be a huge success. The other one was very underwhelming. So that's interesting all along. But Jim Lee, who's never done anything with film before, he's an artist. He's an artist. He understands DC very well, but he sold his company to DC, so that way he wouldn't be the man anymore. He can kind of work under, just be creative. So it's kind of weird to see him go back into this position. But that's some weird shakeup stuff. I'm gonna keep an eye on it. I think it's a good move to actually not have Jeff Johns be the head of DC Films. I think that they need to have someone who understands filmmaking and storytelling. Not just someone who understands storytelling, really cool nerd stuff, and can't make a solid movie. There's too many cooks in the kitchen between Warner Brothers and DC Films, like they're a separate entity. But with Jim Lee coming in, I don't think this is the right move, Obed. I do not agree with this. I think it could be fine, but I just think that they need to get somebody who really understands filmmaking and the properties. To really come in, not somebody who's already existing that's never worked in film before. I think this is a problem. I think it could get even worse. I think what this means though, certain projects may not get greenlit. Where I think Jeff Johns was so much of a fanboy, it was like, yeah, sure, we can make a Booster Gold, you know, and Blue Beetle movie or whatever. We're sure we can do like this stuff that nobody really is asking for. That's like, let's first give me Man of Steel 2 before we talk about Booster Gold and stuff like that. So I think like I feel like Jim Lee maybe will come in and maybe kind of change that around what he really wants to move forward with and how they do all that. But when it comes to making an actual film, I'm concerned that we'll have again same issues because he may want stuff, but Warner Brothers still kind of pulls the puppeteering. Obed, what's your thoughts on the change at the heads of DC?
Yeah, like you said, I mean, I respect Jim Lee as an artist. So I think he's great, but at the same time, you need someone that understands the movie business, and more importantly, you need someone who can push back against the WB producers, which proven time and time again, it's the problem with these movies. I don't know how that's going to change now that they're owned by AT&T.
That's true. Yep.
So I mean, that remains to be seen, but we need a strong guy leading DC, the DCEU, right? Again, nothing again. I know that Jim understands exactly what this universe needs, but I'm not sure he's the right guy. He would have been great as a consultant, but to head a studio is not an easy feat. So we'll see. But I know that there's been some positive rumors the last couple of weeks with Wonder Woman and Aquaman. So
yep,
hopefully that'll be a fresh start. I don't know how. I mean, I'll hope that I'm proven wrong with Shazam because it still looks like dog dookie, but we'll see.
Yeah. So really quickly, the rumors that come out to kind of address them directly is that obviously Aquaman has been screened a few times, getting good reviews from early screenings. Although Obed, this is something about Batman vs Superman. Oh, there was a standing ovation by the Warner Brothers heads. I think Batman vs Superman is a fine movie, but I don't think it was like standing ovation. I'm sorry, but
I like it better than Justice League still. So
I do too. Actually, yeah. I do. But I definitely think that this movie is going the right direction. Hearing that, they how long they've taken having James Wan make the movie, I really like that. Similarly, the way I feel about Wonder Woman, the way they had Patty Jenkins really take over and make a movie that was for her and how she wanted to portray it. So you saw a new Aquaman logo come out on James Wan's Instagram and social media, basically saying, hey, there's the new logo of Aquaman. Also that at Comic-Con, they'd be releasing the actual trailer for the movie. So I will be at Comic-Con. Just to remind you guys, I will be covering it there for you guys. So I hope to be in Hall H, hopefully, to actually be covering all of this, and I'll see the trailer. More than likely they'll put it on the internet like they've done before. But the Shazam trailer also supposed to be dropping, and then another rumor came out recently that Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman herself, will come out on stage and bring us some footage, probably not a trailer, but some rough footage from Wonder Woman 2 or Wonder Woman 1984, if I'm not mistaken. So
84 or something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so Obed, I mean, positive. There. All the other thing too is they also announced that Chris Hardwick, which we don't need to get into all of that. That's a whole other topic.
Another can of worms.
Oh man, but Chris Hardwick will not be hosting the Warner Brothers Hall H panel as he did in the past. So that's they're really trying to set up for a good show. Hopefully it'll be good. And when I'm at Comic-Con, we'll see.
Yep. Again. I really wish that DC gets everything together and they can actually come back with a more competitive product, right? They definitely need someone to guide them in a straight path, someone that can come up with a decent roadmap for these movies, and I want to see them succeed, man. I love their properties, so I really want to see them come up with some new ideas and take risks on their movies like Batman vs Superman, and do things like that. I mean, they have the properties, they own all their properties. They don't have any of this licensing nightmare that Marvel still has. So they should take advantage of that and give us a cohesive universe that we can, you know, all enjoy. So,
Agreed.
Yeah. Joel, I only have a couple of video game news for this week. I know that we're still sort of burned out from E3.
That was great.
Man, I'm telling you, it got to the point this week where I just stopped watching video game like stuff on YouTube. It's like, I'm done. I'm gonna take a couple of weeks and just watch some JoJo's Bizarre Adventure or so, you know, do something different with my time. So, Street Fighter V is a game that I like. I haven't played in a while, but I still like it quite a bit. After 2 years, 2.5 years actually, they're adding loot boxes, Joe. Isn't that something interesting?
That's crazy, man, because this game's been out for a while, so it's random timing to really come out and say, oh, we're going to add loot boxes. And I don't know how you feel about this. We've talked about loot boxes a lot. I know a lot of people, it's kind of like a catchphrase right now in the industry that people kind of want to steer away from. So I'm not sure how you feel about this, Obid.
Yeah. So 2 things. You cannot buy in-game currency with real money on Street Fighter V. You have to earn it. And number 2, based on the info, and this is supposed to be coming out on the patch for next week. So for June 25th, this patch is going to come out. They're going to add these features to specifically survival mode. Here's the interesting thing, Joel, is that survival mode is a single player mode that has no online features on it other than, I believe, you know, some sort of ranking system at the end if you finish the mode. What I find interesting is that basically you'll get cosmetic items that will give you a boost, either you know, a health boost or power boost or something like that. You used to be able to actually use your points and buy those sort of boosts already on survival mode, but they were only for like a 1-match sort of thing. This looks like it's something that would make survival mode a lot more accessible. It was quite difficult, especially if you wanted to do like the harder survival mode ones. I tried it a couple of times and I couldn't make it. I was like, oh, screw this crap, I'm out. So I only tried to unlock a few colors of the characters that I played as, but other than that, I really didn't touch it at all. So this may make me go back and play survival mode. The only thing is that's kind of weird is that you're gonna get some cosmetic items that they are not confirmed to be available for online use. Of course, this is all cosmetic. There's no impact on how, you know, you play the game. You still need skill and need to be able to know what's going on in order to do well on the game online. So just for example, they have the cannon spike boots for Cammy. They look pretty freaking cool. So I would love to, you know, put those boots on Cammy and go play online. But I don't know if you can do it or not. So it's not super clear what they're trying to do with this thing. I guess we'll find out next week. I may jump in and see what it is, you know, because I jumped in and did a couple of challenges on arcade when the arcade edition came out, the arcade edition update. I went in and did a couple of the new things that they added, and I liked it. Like all that new content that they put in was great. So I'm curious to see what this is going to do to survival mode. But again, this is like completely inoffensive. There's no money involved. You can't buy currency.
That's the best thing. It's merit based, right? You have to actually earn it in the game. Nothing to pay to win, kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. There's nothing like that's super offensive about this. So, it doesn't really bug me at all. So
great.
I'll check it out. Hopefully that'll get me back into Street Fighter, because Dragon Ball really really took me out of Street Fighter. That game took over. So we'll see if that'll get me in, even if it's for a couple hours. So we'll see about that. And Joel, the only other thing that I have is that we do have NPD numbers for May, and we got a surprise on this one, man. So State of Decay 2, a game that a lot of people took a bunch of dumps on, was the #1 selling game last month. That tells me two things: that the first game did well on PC, and a lot of PC gamers actually went ahead and got this game. And it tells me another thing, Joel, is that Xbox players, they are salivating for a game. And guys, you gotta still have to wait on that to get more stuff on Xbox. I don't know if you saw it, Joel, and just doing a little bit of a segue here, but they said a couple days ago that new studio, that quadruple A studio, that Microsoft, the Initiative, the studio still doesn't have all its personnel. Like they're like in like pre prep phases of creating a new IP. Again, don't expect this to be on Xbox One. This is going to be a 2023, maybe 2024 game. So it's going to be a while until you guys see something from that studio. But just going back, Joel, God of War still, hanging on strong at #2, and Detroit Become Human, a single player story driven game, #3. So I'm pretty surprised with a 1 and a 3 on this one, Joel.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know how you feel about Detroit Become Human. I don't know if you played it or not, but
I have not played it. I was actually very interested in playing it. I thought it looked good. So
yeah, it looks pretty nice. Other than that, Monster Hunter is still hanging on that list. And nothing else that it's super surprising out of that list from last month, other than those two. And of course, the PS4 again was the #1 selling piece of hardware for the month. So other than that, Joel, not a lot of crazy surprises on this one. I'm wondering how long PS4 can continue, the streak until things start dying down. Of course, that they've already projected that that's gonna happen, but I'm curious to see when they'll actually see a significant reduction on these numbers. But yeah, other than that, nothing too surprising, other than State of Decay 2 doing actually pretty well on that list, man.
yeah, it's awesome. That means a lot of homes have PS4s. It's the popular console. It's the console that is probably most popular, and following behind it has to be Nintendo, right? With the Switch. But it's very fascinating to see also the games that also are selling really well, because that's indicative of what people are looking for. Like you mentioned, Microsoft fans are looking for games. So State of Decay and stuff like that doing well, that speaks for itself. So I love seeing these numbers because stats don't lie, right?
Yeah, and Xbox gamers are definitely looking for something, right? They definitely want to play something new. I know that Crackdown 3, if it comes out in February, it's gonna do really well numbers wise, because that's gonna be something that the fan base at large is gonna be looking forward to. So but Joe, that is what I got. If you don't have anything else, man. Oh yeah, you do.
I do. The big one being a quick update to our Disney and Comcast. So
I totally forgot about that.
No worries, man. Because the update is that, well, Comcast tried to play I Gotcha by coming after Disney and saying, well, we're going to come in here and give $65 billion over the 50-something billion that Disney initially got a handshake with Fox, 21st Century Fox, and instead Comcast came in and tried to put this extra money in. Disney came right back at them the next day, and Disney had the right to basically override that deal and give a higher amount, and that's what ended up happening. Disney came in and they offered 71, I think, and a half billion for 21st Century Fox between stocks and cash. So this deal is official. It's being finalized. The details is the thing that I'm not going to start talking about. You have to imagine, yes, the whole, X-Men
X-Men.
and
That's the bigger
Avatar,
thing, right?
right?
Yeah.
Avatar and stuff like that, right? But there's way more to it in the sense of streaming rights and all of that. I think the devil's in the details when it comes to this. I don't know if everything stayed intact with this whole re-coming in and re-upping the finances. Curious to see. I'm not going to speak prematurely now just because I think when all this finally comes out, which I told you, Obed, it was going to be a year, and that's exactly what we're seeing. From last year, we talked about this until now. I told you it's going to be a full year until this deal fully gets done. So I expect by the end of this year for us to really have a better understanding, and then going into next year, see, especially as it pertains to something like Marvel, probably seeing those productions start to go into effect around that, or maybe around Comic-Con or whatnot, announcements and stuff. So it'll be a while till we see the full run ramifications, but from a business understanding, it's happening.
Good. I got scared there for a second when Comcast came in. I was like, yo, we're upping this for by over 12 billion or something like that. So it was pretty significant offer that they were making. I was concerned, and I was not too concerned about the properties because I know that at the end of the day, Comcast is after what you said. It's streaming rights, it's Sky, it's this sort of thing. Disney may have been able to cut a deal with Comcast and get those properties eventually, but just knowing that X-Men are gonna be part of the MCU, one way or another, it just gets me real happy, man. It's finally it's happening. So
welcome home. The prodigal sons are coming home.
Yeah, it's like we're gonna have X-Men Homecoming now.
Seriously.
Yeah, Fantastic Four Homecoming. All these guys coming back. But yeah, I'm excited that that's finalized, and it's been we've been talking about this for like a year now, right?
Seriously, yep.
Holy crap, man. It's crazy. All right, but that's what I got, man. If you don't got anything else, just wrap it up.
That's right. I'm going to tell you guys, thank you so much. We really appreciate you taking time out of your day to listen to us here on No Load Time. We want to make sure you stay connected with us, so go ahead and follow us on our social media at No Load Time. That's at No Load Time on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. We also want to make sure you subscribe to us so you can hear our latest episodes as they come out. We are on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, and of course here on YouTube as well, so you can watch us. So go ahead and subscribe to us so you can see when our latest episodes come out. If you're a subscriber on iTunes, we want to ask you to please go ahead and drop us a review. That'd really help us out. Your feedback is always welcomed. And as it relates to your feedback, we also want you to know that there is an email, noloadtime@gmail.com. That's noloadtime@gmail.com, where you could email us back your feedback, comments, questions. We may even address it here on the show. It's always welcomed. So go ahead and send us an email. Thank you so much, and we look forward to our next episode here on No Load Time.
Thank you, guys, and we'll see you again on the next episode.